Welcome back to another episode of Unleashing You. In today's conversation, I speak with Stephanie Priebe. Stephanie is a Chicago girl through and through, as well as Senior National Account Director at Randstad. Stephanie talks to us about cracking the code on balance and fun while excelling in a high-pressure career. Stephanie is a true example of work hard, play hard, and she does not hold back when it comes to making time for her dreams. She shares with us that this did not always come easy to her, and she talks about how a broken engagement left her feeling lost and really in a dark place until she decided to start living for herself. Stephanie shares with us how she is able to truly step away from work and explore the world. I cannot wait for you to hear this conversation. So without further ado, let's dive in. Before we begin, I want to make sure that you have the Unleashing You retreat on your radar, because just the fact that you're tuning into this podcast means the Unleashing You retreat is right up your alley. The reason I created the Unleashing You retreat is because as women, we tend to look to everyone else for the answers. We somehow think that everyone else knows better than we do, when in reality, tapping into your own intuition is actually the key to living a happy and fulfilled life. And that's how I've created the career and life I have now, and what we'll teach you how to do during this retreat. An inner shift like this will leave you with tools that you'll use for the rest of your life. This retreat is so much more than a girls' trip. This is a transformation. If I've piqued your interest, I want to personally invite you to join us in Steamboat Springs, Colorado on September 19th through the 22nd. During our time together, we will go through coaching workshops and other deep personal development activities that will uncover aspects of yourself you never even knew. Work like this would take months or years to do on your own, and we're going to get you there in just a few short days. Not to mention, we'll be staying in a gorgeous mountain home, complete with a private chef, so you don't have to lift a finger. If you are ready for a pampering getaway where you can recharge your batteries and feed your soul, send me a message on Instagram or visit acrprofessionalcoaching.com to learn more and reserve your spot. Spots are very limited, so do not wait. And I'll see you in the mountains. Now, let's get on to today's show. Welcome to Unleashing You. This podcast is your permission slip to create success your way. I'm your host, Amanda Riffey, a certified success coach and female business leader who has climbed her way up the corporate ladder. I've been through burnout and back and found the tools to bring fun and enjoyment to my career while creating powerful results and leading in a way that feels authentic to me. This show brings you conversations with women just like you who have created massive success for themselves and are doing it in their own way. We'll hear about their personal journeys of growing their career while still prioritizing the things they love most. If you are ready to be challenged and encouraged to reach your next level, then buckle up, sister, because the road to dreamy success begins here. Let's dive in. Stephanie.
Hi.
I am so happy to have you on Unleashing You. I cannot wait for everyone to hear more of your story. I know we were chatting a little bit before we hit record, and I'm just so honored that you came on the show and just so thankful that you're willing to share your story with everyone who listens.
No, thank you for having me. This is exciting. It's my first first podcast interview. So
awesome. Awesome. Okay. So let's just start with the basics. You've been with your company for 17 years. That is very exciting. Can you walk us through your career journey so far?
Yeah, I have been with my company for 17 years. It was actually last Monday was my 17-year anniversary. I started here right out of college, actually. I graduated with a Spanish degree. I thought I was going to be a teacher and ultimately decided that wasn't the career path I wanted to go down. And of course, the ultimate question from the parents is, well, what are you going to do? Right? Like, you have a Spanish degree and what are you going to do? I relied on my networking, and I reached out to a sorority sister who was working at my organization at the time, and she got me an interview. And 2 rounds later, I landed the job, and I've been here since. So I started as a recruiter for one of our offices down by Midway Airport and transitioned into a sales role about 2 years later and transferred to our downtown Chicago office. I grew within the management space because I really ultimately wanted to learn what it was like to sort of be a leader. And we have a great leadership program here. And then after 10 and a half years in that space, I landed my ultimate dream job here, which was part of our strategic and national account team. And I've been here for 6 years.
Yeah. Oh, that's so amazing. And you are essentially in sales now. Is that accurate?
Yeah. My job is I oversee some of our larger national accounts that we partner with. And my job is to grow and expand the business from where we started the contract into as many spaces as we can.
Yeah. And that's a big job for a global company. So that's amazing. So Stephanie, anyone who knows you personally or follows you on social media knows that you are all about fun and adventure. And that is probably my favorite part of you. So can you talk to us a little bit about what makes that so important for you? Why do you make that a priority?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there was a pivotal piece to my life where I sort of shifted my mindset. I've always had sort of a work hard, play hard mentality. I think it's important to do well in your career, right? You're working 40 plus hours a week. But ultimately, what sort of shifted my mindset even more is I was going through sort of an engagement break off a few years back. And I had to relearn who I was, right? You spend your life sort of dreaming, at least I did, about like marriage and kids and what is that going to look like? And you have the ring and you have the relationship and it doesn't work out. And you start to feel like you're starting over, right? And it's all of my other friends are married with kids. And here I am at square one at over 30 years old. What does that mean for me? And I tried to turn it into a positive, right? So I'm not going to sit here and say that there wasn't some dark times. There definitely were. But ultimately, I sort of made a list of the things that I wanted to accomplish. What was going to be my identity without this person? And who did I want to be in this next chapter of my life, right? And so it took a lot of digging deep, but ultimately that's sort of where all these lists of fun came from. Things that I probably wouldn't have been able to do or maybe not have prioritized when I was in that relationship. But coming out of the relationship, it was, I'm myself, right? Like I'm only me right now. I'm a solo person. And so there's a whole infinity amount of things that I can do. And there's nothing that's going to hold me back. And so that's sort of where that came from.
That's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And even when you were talking, number one, I know there's just so many people that will resonate with what you just shared. And so thank you for being open and vulnerable in that. But I think, I think about even myself who, I am married and I do have kids, but even that exercise that you talked about of who do I want to become in this next chapter of my life? Like that literally just gave me goosebumps because that's so important for all of us to do, whether you're in a relationship or not, of not losing ourselves in work, marriage, kids, friends, right? Like all of those different things. That's so important.
I think it's important that everybody has their own journey. And ultimately, I had decided I needed some time I didn't go into dating right away, right? Everyone's like, so are you going to get on the dating apps? No, that wasn't the case. It was, I want to learn who I am. I want to focus on the things that bring me happiness. Because of course, in a relationship, you sacrifice, right? It's a give and take. There's a balance. And it was a really important time I could be selfish. It was uncomfortable because it's just hard for anyone to feel that way. But, I signed up to do my first half marathon. It was something that was always on my list. Like, we're going to get to it. Can I actually do it? I've done 5 since, and I'm turning 40 next year, and I'm already thinking about where I'm doing my next one. I'm now a Cubs season ticket holder. That's something that was like, can I do this? Yes. And then, of course, traveling. I mean, I've been to multiple different countries. These are all things that sort of came from finding my new identity outside of being in that engaged relationship. So,
yeah. Oh, that's so amazing. And so, can you talk to us a little bit more about like the inner work that you had to do to get to that point? So you mentioned, saying, okay, I'm going to do this half marathon. Like, I'm sure there was so much in your head that went on to go from that's a someday dream, maybe I'll do, to, yeah, I'm signing up for that. Can you walk us through a little bit about what went through your head?
Yeah. I don't do many things on an impulse. I'm like such a thought out, methodical type of person. That was something that I knew that if I didn't rip the Band-Aid off and just sign up, I probably would have come up with an excuse as to why, and I would have pushed it off, right? I think one of the bigger lessons that I've learned in this most recent chapter of my life is that can't take any day for granted, right? As a lot of people have probably gone through, had deaths in the family, had deaths with best friends' parents, and you realize that you really have to sort of live every day to the fullest. And so why wait, right? Because who knows if I'm going to, injure my knee or what's going to happen. So do it now while I can. So some of my decisions are ripping Band-Aids off. I mean, that's the honest truth is, all right, we're going to do it because there's no better time. Then there are some that are more thought out, obviously financially or whatever it may take. But I think if you continue to wait to do the things that bring you happiness or that you find joy in, you're probably always going to have a reason to not do it. Because I feel like that's just natural for humans to just sort of prioritize other things. But I just bring myself back to this mantra of like, it's okay to do things for yourself. It's okay to be selfish. And I don't necessarily love that word because, again, it's got a negative connotativity, but it's okay to do things for yourself. And that's just a constant reminder to anything that I try to do moving forward is like, is this going to bring me joy? Does this bring me happiness? Okay, then let's do it.
Yeah. Oh, so good. So good. And one thing that you said in there around just taking the action, because you know that if you wait on it, you're going to talk yourself out of it, or the kind of those negative thoughts or your subconscious is really going to start to kick in. Oh my gosh, I can relate to that so much. Like right now and where I am in my life too, it's like, just take action before you feel ready. Take action. Just do it. Just do it.
It's scary.
Yeah, it is. It's so scary. And so I'm so glad that you brought that up, because if we don't talk about those things, we can each be sitting here thinking, I'm the only one that thinks that way. Everybody else has got it together. Nobody's scared of doing something new. And the truth is, we all have those feelings. Absolutely.
Yeah, you just got to rip that Band-Aid off sometimes.
Exactly. Exactly. I hope you're enjoying today's episode. I wanted to interrupt for a brief moment to invite you to create success your own way. I am currently enrolling in one-on-one private coaching opportunities. This is for you if you are ready to go all in and see big results. With 4 months of focused time just for you, you will skyrocket your growth and success beyond your wildest dreams. No more dreading Mondays. We'll make every day feel like Friday. Ready for a promotion Let's do it. Want to start your business? I'm game. Need to find balance between your career and your family? I promise you it can be done. Are you longing to level up your leadership? Well, then let's bring out that badass CEO. Together, we will transform your career and your life into something you are really proud of. Get ready to get back in the driver's seat and create the success of your dreams. And did I mention we will have so much fun along the way? Send me a message on Instagram or head to acrprofessionalcoaching.com to learn more. I'll also put the details in the show notes for you. Your road to dreamy success begins here. Now, back to the episode. Okay, so you mentioned about travel, Cubs games, right? All of those things that you are doing. How does that help you show up better for your career as well?
That's a really great question. It's something that I struggled with because I still do. I put my heart and soul into my career and my work and I love what I do. Being alone in the pandemic was a huge sort of change in viewpoint into some boundaries I set for myself. I would be on vacation. I vividly remember I was in New York visiting one of my best friends from college, and I'm walking across the street, checking my work email, like while I'm on vacation. And I wasn't sort of being present or enjoying the moment because I kept thinking, oh my gosh, what if this customer emails me and I don't get back to them? And you go through this whirlwind. And so I never actually took PTO. I went to Thailand with my family and I was literally on my laptop at 11 o'clock at night in the hotel because it was 11 o'clock in the morning in Chicago. And my mom is like, what are you doing? And I have to work. It was this obsession of like work. And nobody put that on me. It was something that I sort of felt compelled to do. It wasn't like my company is like, oh, you can't use your PTO. That's not the case. I just felt so driven to like excel. And I thought excel meant you couldn't be off, right? You had to work 24/7. And then COVID hit and I was alone in my apartment, couldn't leave. So all I could do is work. And I did. And I worked like 12, 14-hour days. Anything that it was work. And I literally had a breaking point where I called my boss and I was bawling and I sort of lost it. And at that moment, I realized I don't have to put myself through this and I don't have to work like this because nobody's making me do this, right? I'm doing it to myself. And so I created a boundary then and there. And I said, anytime I'm on vacation, I will not check my email. When I'm on PTO, I'm on PTO. And I have stayed firm for the last 3 years for all my trips I've gone on. So I created that boundary. And I think staying firm with it is very important, at least to me, because I know if I break it, I'm going to probably continue that pattern. And so everybody knows, my team knows I can rely on others when I'm gone. The world doesn't end when you're on vacation. Like, it's okay. And you have to tell yourself that. It's really hard.
Yeah. Oh, and such an important shift in what you said of kind of coming out of that and realizing, hold on a second, nobody's putting that pressure on me except for me. And man, that can apply to so many different things where, you have a mile-long to-do list. You're like, I've got to get this, and this done. And you're like, wait, but says who? Like so many times
Why?
it's us. Yeah. Yeah. And, and then having that first vacation where you're truly unplugged and then coming back and like you said, realizing, oh, wait, the world didn't end because I stopped working for a couple days or a week or whatever the thing is. And, upskilling your team to be able to take on those responsibilities while you're gone as well. When I work with clients in leadership, we talk so much about that of, that's not only beneficial to you as a leader to be able to step away, But that is also so empowering to your team to be able to be in conversations that maybe they normally wouldn't be in, or take on projects or answer questions that they normally wouldn't have the opportunity to do. But because you have, given them that responsibility when you're out of the office, that's also getting them ready for their next position as well.
No, absolutely. It feels really good to know that break is there, right? And I'm a firm believer, like I said earlier, work hard, play hard, right? Like we all put in the effort, and I think we all are able to should enjoy PTO. Like I use every single day. I'm not one of those people that wastes a single day. If I've earned it and my organization is going to provide that to me, I'm going to enjoy it, whether it's a day to get a massage and a mani-pedi or to actually travel. I think having that reset is key. I personally use all of my PTO to travel because I have a whole bucket list of places I want to go to. But however you use it, it's important to use it because you have to have that refresh, like you said. You come back in typically stronger, more energized, clear, focused, and then it pushes you to do even better.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I love that. I'm curious, where's your next travel destination on your bucket list?
I'm going to Iceland for 10 days over New Year's.
Oh, that's amazing.
Going to go see the Northern Lights.
Oh my gosh.
That's on my list. And then I got to start planning for next year. So this is my last trip of this year, and then got next year to start working towards.
Yeah, we're going to talk about your Instagram handle in a little bit, but I'm going to say everyone go follow Stephanie because it's just all of the travel pictures are so amazing. Okay, so before we wrap up, Stephanie, what final piece of advice would you have for someone who's listening who can really hear themselves in your story? So whether that's being single and, living in a city, or mourning a past relationship, or maybe they have dreams of traveling and they're craving that balance. What would you say to maybe even a past version of you?
Go with your gut, and it's never too late to do the things that make you happy or bring you joy. I mean, it doesn't matter how old you are or where you are in your career or where you are, in whatever facet you are in life. It's never too late. And I think that's key. And I know it can be scary to do something you may have never done before, or say I'm too old to do X or whatever. At the end of the day, if you want to get it done and you want to accomplish it, you absolutely can, because it's you are your only obstacle. And so remove that barrier. If it's ripping off a Band-Aid, do that and go get your next adventure and go have some fun.
Oh, so good. So good. So Stephanie, if listeners want to connect with you after this conversation, where can they find you?
So LinkedIn, from a professional standpoint, I'm on Facebook as well. And then, as you mentioned earlier, I post all of my travels everywhere I go on my Instagram handle.
Perfect. And I will link all of those things in the show notes for the listeners to be able to click on and connect with you. Stephanie, thank you so much for not only being on the show today, but also just sharing your story. I think the more that we talk about, those things that go through our heads, or, the hard times in our lives and the great things that can come out of that, really the less alone we feel as women in business, as women in leadership. And, my goal is to really expand our network of supportive women in the leadership space. So thank you so much for being on today.
Thank you for having me. This was super fun. So maybe there'll be more podcasts in my future.
Yes, ma'am. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. If you would like to continue the conversation, connect with me on Instagram and say hello. You can find me at AmandaRiffy_coaching. In the meantime, if you know you are ready to say yes to yourself and find an incredible support system of other female business leaders, just like you, then visit my website at acrprofessionalcoaching.com or send me a DM on Instagram to find out more about the Leadership Legacy Circle enrolling now. This program is a 2-month exclusive and transformative group coaching and learning experience that will allow you to feel so aligned in leadership while creating fantastic results at both work and at home. Don't wait, the next group is beginning soon. Chat with you again later.